Three, two, one. Welcome everyone, back with another Project M character moveset analysis guide, and today we'll be talking about Mario. Mr. Nintendo, Mr. Jumpman, Mr. Video Game, the man himself, Mario. Now, basically, Mario is, he's considerably one of the greatest characters in all of video game history. And he's in Smash Bros. Specifically, every Smash game including Project M. In this game, he has been upgraded to all hell, and that is a thankful thing, because now he is viable at being ranked 20th out of 41 in the middle of the B tier, which basically just proves him to be viable in most ways possible. Today, we will be talking about Mario and his movesets and basically other stuff. That's really all I gotta say. First, we will be talking about his neutral, aka his neutral game, like the obvious neutral game. Jab or the A attack is basically 2 punch, 1 kick, blah blah blah, you get the point. It's with almost every Mario fighter. 2 punch, 1 kick. The first punch does 2%, the second punch does 3%, and the kick does 5%. Next we got is the dash attack, which is basically when he just kind of slides on the ground, kind of like in Mario 64 when you kind of do that dash thing. It's clean 9%, but if you hit it late, it's 8%. We'll be talking about the smash attacks, starting with forward smash. And forward smash, it's basically when he just spews that awesome fiery hand out, if you're playing the Dr. Mario skin, then it'll be like an electric pulse. But yeah, he basically spews his hand out with a fiery nature or electric nature. And it's a pretty strong move. It's one of his good kill moves if you land it on the sweet spot, which is the fire. There are different angles, but we're going to be mainly just talking about of course, the front and center angle, which is basically 19% if you land the fire, 14% from the left arm, and 10% from the right arm, which is basically sweet spot, normal hit, and then there's sour spot. Now is Mario's up smash, which is basically when he pulls his head back and goes, "Wah!" It's a really great finishing move at around the 100% area, and it can even hit enemies behind Mario. And weirdly enough, if you hit an opponent in front of you, it can spike them. Sorry, I'm kind of sick right now. The damage is 15%, but landing the spike will also grant an extra percent, so 16%. Finally, we have Mario's down smash, which is basically when he does kind of a breakdance thing, and it can hit on both sides. It's actually a pretty good knockback tool, and is a pretty great finisher for edge guarding. 16% on the front, and 12% on the back feet. However, there is another sour spot, which is the back legs, which only does 10%. Anyways, next up are the tilts, and, well, there's not much to say about them, so I'll just go through them one by one quickly. Forward tilt is kind of like a bit of a little kick thing Mario does. Not like the neutral attack. He kind of just swings his legs in the air a bit, and depending on the angle, upwards does 10%, straight forward does 9%, and downward does 8%. Downward's pretty good for edge guarding too. And then next is up tilt, which is kind of like a little uppercut in the air. It's really good for starting combos and juggling, and altogether it does 8% damage. Next is down tilt, which he kind of just sweeps his leg on the ground, and it's average, but it is pretty good for also starting combos, and pretty good spacing tool for melee characters. Altogether, damage is 9% close and 8% if you hit it on the foot. Next up, we have are the aerials. You know, when you just kind of throw your body all around in the air just to do funny stuff. We are going to be talking about Mario's aerials, and first off, starting with his neutral air, which is basically, you know, the average sex kick, you know, leg on leg, blah blah blah. You get it. It's clean at 12% AK right when you start it, and then 9% for when you're not at your peak anymore, and you know you kind of just start falling well. Yeah, that's basically all I gotta say about neutral air. It's just your average neutral air. You could see this a lot happening in this later. Next up we have is Mario's forward aerial, which is basically him pulling his arm back in the air and then going, whoa, kind of like a punch down, you know, like when your opponent's on the ground or something or in the air. All you gotta do is crank that arm back and go, boom! Here's the thing though. Unlike it just being a normal spike or a weak hitbox, it's actually a mix of Mario's and Dr. Mario's forward air. Dr. Mario from Melee to be exact. So, right at the launch, the forward air actually has the knockback angle and damage of Dr. Mario, but during the later hits, it actually turns into Mario's spike aerial. Which overall, the early fist does 17% damage, and the late fist does 15%. However, that's kind of, you know, because one is super powerful and the other one is a super powerful spike, so yeah. Next up we have is Mario's down aerial, or his dare, which is basically him, instead of being a little spinny thing in the air, it's him kind of kicking his foot down, like kind of spinning his foot rather than spinning his whole body. It's a multi-hit aerial, which is pretty good, especially if you can L cancel it, so you could basically just lead up to another quick frame move. Hits 1 through 3 do 3% damage, and then hits 4 to 7 plus the landing hit does 2% damage altogether. Next up in Project M Mario's aerial kit is his up aerial, which he basically does kind of like a mid-air backflip or something, kind of like a kick in the air. Overall, it's pretty good for juggling, kind of, so you could just basically lead to up till up air, up till up air, up air, up air, you know, you get it. And it can lead to some other aerials too, like most up airs can sometimes. Not most, sometimes. The clean hitbox is 11%, however the late hitbox is 10%. Although some people might say that the late hitbox is better because it does less knockback, meaning that you could combo with it. And finally, it's Mario's back aerial, or bear. Basically, Mario turns around and quickly kicks his feet backwards, and it uses, factually, it uses its melee animations. It's pretty good for gimping characters off stage. Like, if you're on the ledge and a character's following right behind you, you could easily just quickly get off the ledge, use back air, and then quickly go back on the ledge. It's actually pretty good for edge guarding and gimping. Overall, the clean hit does 11%, but the late hit does 9%. Now, we will talk about Mario's grab, pummel, and throws. You know, I like every other character in the game, you can grab by either pressing L or R, and then A, or Z. So, that's all we gotta really talk about. Well, I guess we can talk about the other thing, which is the next thing, pummeling. Basically, his pummel is just him headbutting the opponent. Overall, it does 3%. Next up, we will be getting into Mario's throws, and this doesn't really have to be cut into each segment. These are pretty easy to explain. So, first off is his forward throw, in which he kind of just turns around once and flings his opponent. Overall, it does 9% damage. The back throw is when he spins around 3 times, and like most back throws, it's usually the stronger throw. The throw does 12% damage, however, getting hit by it does 8% damage to whoever runs into it. Up throw is when he grabs the opponent with both his hands and then throws him up, which, like every single other up throw in the game, could probably lead to aerial combos. It overall does 8% damage. And then finally, there's down throw, which he kind of just slams the opponent into the ground, which can set up a lot of combos because of how big the hit stun is. So yeah, it's actually a pretty good move. Overall, it does 6% damage. Finally, for one of his final move sets, we have are his specials, or the B buttons. We have the neutral special, the side special, the up special, and the down special, or B, side B, up B, and then down B, you know. So, the first one we have is his neutral special as the well-known Fireball, or if you're playing as Dr. Mario, the Mega Vitamins, in which it's his little own projectile where he shoots a fireball. It kind of bounces on the surface a bit, and every bounce usually decreases the duration of the move. Overall, it does 7% damage. Special move is Mario's side special, the Cape, or if you're playing as Dr. Mario, the Super Sheet. Basically, it's just a reflector. You have to time it properly in order to land it, but if you land it correctly, it's actually very good. It can also reflect characters too, so technically you could reflect people trying to recover back on the stage, which is very useful as a gimping tool. Overall, it does 10%. Next up, what we have is the very well-known Mario up special, the Super Jump Punch. You know how, like, in the Mario games, he kind of has his fist up and his legs kind of leaned forward, kind of like he's jumping in Smash Bros. 2? Well, it technically is also his up special, except it's longer and it goes in a diagonal direction. Unfortunately, if you're trying to, depending on the stage you're playing on, if you try to recover, you might get stuck sometimes, so that can also be an issue. And an additional fact is, if you're at the apex, like right at the top of the perfection of the jump, you can be able to wall jump out of it if you're right next to a wall by flicking the controller backwards. Overall, it does 5% for the first hit, and then 1% from hits 2 to 5, and 3% for hit 6. And now, for the final move of Mario's moveset, and his final special, is his Mario Tornado, or if you're playing as Dr. Mario, the Doctor Tornado. Basically, Mario kind of performs a multi-hit spinning attack with his hands outstretched, basically kind of doing a little tornado thingy. Mashing it can actually rise up, however, I can't mash well enough, so you're just gonna have to see me turn the game to slow-mo, so yeah. If you mash it well enough, though, you can be able to rise, thus giving him a bit more recovery depending how well you mash it. Overall, the first hit does 2% damage, hits 2 to 7 do 1% damage, and then hit 8 does 5% damage. And that's that. That's the man you know. That's his moveset in Project M. Thank you for watching. But, before we leave, we have some other stuff to announce. I sound like a direct guy. Anyways, we gotta go over one more part. Miscellaneous stuff. Basically, the alt skins, wave dash, taunts, and his final smash. And although most of those are technically similar to Brawl and Melee's counterpart, we're still gonna go over them, you know. I like to be that type of guy. But, to announce even one more thing, next episode, it's Luigi time. And here are Mario and Dr. Mario, even though he is an alt skin, alt skins. Here is Mario's Wave Dash. Here are Mario's taunts. weirdly enough, his down taunt actually has a hitbox to it. The Fireball, or if you're playing as Dr. Mario, the Mega Vitamin, if it hits an opponent that is very close nearby, it will damage them. It gives 3% damage total. And finally, here is Mario's Final Smash. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, go ahead and like the video. Because when you like a video, you're usually supposed to like the video. Thanks for playing my game and thank you for watching my video.